Hi everyone, my name is Karis and welcome to my corner of the internet where I talk about books and other things that I enjoy. Today I thought I would share with you some of the books that I've owned for the longest amount of time. You may have seen that recently I did an 80 book unhaul, getting rid of a load of things that have just been sitting around and I didn't feel like I needed anymore. But despite my brutality in getting rid of so many books from my shelves, there are still a few that have survived not only this unhaul, but several more in the past because I have owned them for just that many years. And I just wanted to share them with you today. I honestly don't know why I haven't either read them or got rid of them yet. I feel like I have attachment issues with them now. They've been to so many places with me. Some of these started off in this house with me, then have moved to my halls at uni with me, moved back, moved to my other house when I was at uni, moved back again. So they've lived in almost as many places as I have, to be honest. So I've just got 6 things that I want to share. So I don't have exact dates for when I bought all of these, but I'm 90% sure that most of them I bought when I first started watching BookTube, before I made BookTube videos the first time around, and that would have been in 2013. And I definitely got all of these from charity shops, so that fits in with being in that era when I just wanted to buy everything. I definitely had that phase where if it had pages, I wanted to own it because I wanted to just fill out my shelves. I only had the one shelf back then and it had hardly anything on it, and I felt like if I wanted to start creating BookTube content, which I did do in the December of 2014 for the first time, I had to have loads of books, which is definitely not the case. And as a result of that, I still have these things that I now feel like I can't get rid of. So the first one of the books that has been on my shelves for the longest time is The Time Traveller's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. Now, I have actually apparently read half of this one because when I picked it up, there is a bookmark at this point in it, so like pretty much bang on halfway. I got to page 274 apparently out of 518, so yeah, pretty much bang on halfway. The bookmark is really tatty and horrible, but it's from Riva in Lake Garda from when I went on holiday, so I'm not sure if this came on a holiday with me. If it did, you know, just adding another destination to its list of places where it's travelled to with me. I remember picking this one up because one of the A-level courses that my college ran was a combined English language and literature course, and originally that was what I was going to take, but then I ended up changing to do solid English literature at pretty much the last minute. So I think I had this book because I thought I was going to be reading it for college, and then obviously didn't because it wasn't on the English literature syllabus. And I don't know if I just wasn't feeling it or what, but there must have been some reason why I stopped halfway through it. All that I know is that it's about like a couple and the man ages backwards. So when they first meet, Claire is 6 and Henry is 36, which now having read that sentence, I'm like, that sounds very problematic. I have no idea how the rest of the story goes in this. I can't remember reading it. I haven't seen the film, and I don't typically lean towards things that are like sci-fi. I know this isn't really that sci-fi, but that sort of like time travel shifting with dimensions element of it isn't something that's like a massive buzzword for me. So the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, maybe it can just go. The next couple I remember buying because when I started doing my English literature course at college, we got given a big list with loads of different books that they thought we should try and give a go to expand our reading horizons beyond what was just on the course, and these two were definitely on it, so I bought them and clearly never picked them up. The first is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. I believe this follows parents whose son commits a mass shooting. I'm not sure if it's a school shooting. Yeah, it is. Even never really wanted to be a mother, certainly not of the boy who murdered 7 of his fellow high school students, a cafeteria worker and a teacher who tried to befriend him. Again, this is a film. I've never seen the film either. It does sound very psychological, which is something that does draw me to it, but then on the other hand, it's obviously a very sensitive topic and I'm not sure how sensitively this book would handle it, so I think I would like to do some more research before going into it. But again, it's one that I cannot see myself picking up even within the next few years, so again, maybe it should just go. The next one is actually one that I'm genuinely interested in picking up, and that is White Teeth by Zadie Smith. I'd pretty much forgotten that I had this until I did my bookshelf reorganisation, and then I was like, oh yeah. This follows the story of 3 families in London over 3 generations and 3 different cultures as well, and it definitely sounds like something that I would enjoy reading a lot more now as a 25-year-old than I probably would have back when I bought it when I was 16, 17, just because I could be be wrong, but I feel like it's more literary than a lot of the books that I was reading back then, so I don't think I would have fully appreciated it had I given it a go then. Also, nowadays I am a huge fan of like a multi-generational story. That's definitely a more recent buzzword for me. I've read quite a few books that span several generations over the past couple of years and have really enjoyed them, and now if I see that sort of premise in a blurb, I'm always more likely to want to pick it up. So this is one that I'm definitely going to be keeping hold of, and definitely one that I'm going to be keeping in mind when it comes to putting together some of my future TBRs. The next book I've got to talk about I picked up because of the same list of titles that I got given when I went to college, but it wasn't this exact title that was on it. It was one of this author's other books, and because I really enjoyed that, I wanted to pick this one up, and that is The Red House by Mark Haddon. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime was on that list, and it's one that I actually read, and I really enjoyed it at the time that I read it, and I decided that I wanted to give more Mark Haddon a go. Obviously found this in a charity shop and have not read it. I do not even know what this is about, so I don't know why it survived so many unhauls. I think it is because in the back of my head I'm still like, oh, you really enjoyed The Curious Incident, so you will enjoy this. It says, 2 families, 7 days, 1 house. Angela and her brother Richard have spent 20 years avoiding each other. Now, after the death of their mother, they bring their families together for a holiday in a rented house on the Welsh border. 4 adults and 4 children, 7 days of shared meals, log fires, card games and wet walks. But in the quiet and stillness of the valley, ghosts begin to rise up. The parents Richard thought he had, the parents Angela thought she had. Past and present lovers, friends, enemies, victims, saviours. Don't really get too much from that other than it's going to focus on family and maybe be a bit like spooky. I don't know if it's going to be paranormal or more like psychological. The premise interests me a bit, but again, I just don't know when I'm going to get to it. I love how this video is now just me talking myself into getting rid of books, unless anyone has read this and can convince me otherwise. The next thing is another one that I do still want to keep hold of, so I won't be unhauling this one, but I've just had it for so long, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Again, you can see that I got this from a charity shop. This, I don't know if it's going to be my sort of thing or not, but quite a few people seem to have been reading it in live sprints recently, and I just want to pick it up and give it a go. I literally only know that it's about a circus that just appears, I think. I'm not sure if it's like full-on fantasy or if it's more magical realism, but either way, those aren't typically genres or tropes that I really tend to lean towards, but I have heard that the writing in this is really good, and I know that a lot of people are big fans of Erin Morgenstern, so I just kind of want to give it a go. And the final book that I wanted to talk about today that's been on my TBR for years, I'm not entirely sure when I got this. I think it was a little bit after some of these, but it has been sitting on my shelves for ages, so I just wanted to include it, and that is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Again, you can see the charity shop sticker there. I think again I bought this around the same era, didn't read it for ages, then read Gone Girl and didn't really like Gone Girl, but at the time had heard a lot of people say that this was better. I think it's about a detective who is investigating the disappearance of 2 younger girls and then gets sort of like embedded into their family with their mother and their sister. It sounds very creepy, and I still do enjoy a good mystery, but I have said quite a few times that I'm more nowadays drawn towards mysteries rather than thrillers, and I think this is more in the thriller territory. I could be wrong though, and I can't remember now what it was about Gone Girl that I didn't like. I think it was the plot, but I also think the writing style wasn't massively for me, so if I didn't like that, am I gonna like this? I just don't know. Again, could part with this one. Now that I look at them all, I'm like, I could get rid of them, but there's just something, for some reason, I don't know what it is about these books, but they just keep clinging on. So that was it. These are the 6 books that I've owned for the longest, I think. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts on them. Most of them may be on the unhaul pile unless anyone can convince me otherwise, but there are a couple in there that I am really intrigued to get to, and hopefully making this video will prompt me to actually do it at some point soon. And I would love to hear about any of the books that have been on your TBR for years. And also, before I go, just a final little plug, I am going to be filming a Q&A for hitting 2k subscribers, which I still can't believe, thank you so much, next weekend. So you still have a few days in if you want to send me any questions. You can either leave them in the comments of this video if you can't be bothered to go and look elsewhere, I will find them, or if you go onto like the community, I think it is, page on my channel, I put a post there recently, or also on Twitter there is a tweet there as well, or you can just DM me. Basically just any way you want to send me questions, just put like for the video and I will get them answered in next week's video. Other than that though, that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all keeping safe and staying well, and I will see you again next time. Bye.